Hey, what's up guys? This is Anthony from Anthony's Customs, and for this review we are looking at the Marvel Legends Bulldozer. Yes, we finally get to complete the Wrecking Crew, so I know many of you guys are going to be really excited about this guy. And he's actually one of the better figures from the bunch. He's from the Ultron Build-A-Figure wave. Sadly, most of the figures aren't so great, but this one's pretty darn good, so let's take a look at him. He stands roughly just shy of 8 inches, about 7 3/4 inches, which puts him at just about 20 centimeters. He's built on that same body, the one that we saw with Warpath forever ago, but he's got those newer legs that I think all of the Wrecking Crew had. Maybe a couple of them did, and I don't remember. I'll have them included in a photo at the end here. But he's got the newer thighs, and so that's kind of a good thing in that they look better, but we have some problems with articulation and kind of a problem with sculpt. So let's get right into the sculpt. We'll talk about the old things first. So we have this texturing going on with the lower legs. So that's kind of a cool texture. It gives it some cloth look. We have that also going on in the arms, so that's nice. However, we don't have it in the torso or the thighs, only in the crotch. So he's got some texture and then some parts without texture, which looks a little weird since it's all one kind of bodysuit. It's not a huge deal, obviously. It's a very tiny detail most people probably wouldn't even notice. So I'm willing to let that slide. The only other serious problem I have with this guy, and this is another thing that's not a huge deal, but the hips. They're wide jointed, but they're still that new type of Marvel Legend hip. So it's a little tricky to get him posed effectively, and it's kind of partially due to the shape of his underwear. His crotch piece is a really sharp Y joint, so the articulation's technically there. You can get pretty good range out of most of it. You're just going to kind of have to finagle it here and there. So it's not a big deal. It's just those Y joints are not the greatest joints, that's all. And then this one, I don't know if this is like a common issue or if it's just this guy, but his upper torso is pretty floppy. Like when I took him out of the package, he was more floppy than this, which is kind of weird. But he's not super tight in the ab crunch region. But maybe, I don't know why it's not so floppy anymore. So I guess that's a good thing. Maybe none of them are, so that's really good. And then obviously we have to talk about the unique parts on this guy, which are the wristbands and the belt and the chest piece and the head, and then the ankle things, which all look really, really good. I can imagine some people are going to want them to be more silver looking. I personally would prefer a more bright metallic silver. But the sculpt and the paintwork on them is more than satisfactory. It's a dark gray, almost black, with kind of like a gunmetal wash or a dry brush. It's not a wash, I guess. Maybe the dark is a wash. Either way, there's two tones in there and it looks really nice. So I'm super pleased with that. I'm glad they didn't just do molded gray plastic. That would have been horrible. But I imagine at least some people are going to repaint their metal parts to be a little more silver, but that's not a big deal. Obviously, it looks good as is. The orange parts, they are mostly uniform. It looks like some of them are a little duller and some of them are a little brighter, but it's not super noticeable in hand, so no big deal there. As far as the head sculpt goes, I pretty much like it. I think they did a decent job. The paintwork could be a little bit better around the mouth region, but it's not bad. And then the eyes have that nice black around there with the silver and blue eyes, which is a little bit weird. But it still looks pretty good, so I'm really happy with this guy overall. He's got the flesh tone hands. Not the best paint job. On some of the spots you can see black coming through, but it's not horrible. So let's talk articulation. The head is on a tiny ball peg, which does give it a good range of motion. It can move around pretty well inside that collar even, so that's good. You can see right up inside though, kind of like the stormtroopers, so just be careful when you're posing it, but good range of motion for that. This is a floating piece, so it won't get in the way super much. It won't get in the way too much. Shoulder, standard Marvel Legends ball hinge. This won't get in the way at all really, so no problem there. Bicep swivel, single jointed elbow, a little bit less than 90 degrees, but for a big guy like this, that's okay. We have the wrist swivel back here at the end of the gauntlet thingy, not at the front. Same thing on this side. You already saw the ab crunch. Same as forever ago. No sculpting up there, but it does have good range. We get a waist twist, and this is a soft floating piece, so it doesn't get in the way. We already talked about the hips. Cut joint for the thighs, so that works okay. Double jointed knees work really well, so that's good. No ankle or shin swivel, which I am perfectly fine with. I know some of you guys like that, but I don't, so I'm okay with that. Ankles have pretty good range of motion, so I'm happy about that. And they have an ankle rocker and a toe joint. So really, this guy is a pretty solid figure. I mean, sure, you could have more shading and stuff, but I'm pretty pleased with it. It's a really quality Marvel Legends compared to all the other Marvel Legends that we get of late, so really happy with it. Definitely recommend it, and I think you guys will be happy with it too. These guys should be in stock very soon at Big Bad Toy Store, so make sure you click that link in the description there and get yours on pre-order so you can get them right away instead of having to track them down and hunt them down in real life. You can do it online and save yourself some time and effort. So there it is, guys. Thanks for watching. Make sure you subscribe to the channel so you can see my upcoming figure reviews, custom figures, and other good stuff. And in the meantime, keep collecting.